morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, my friends. God's blessings upon you. Let's praise the Lord together, my friends. We have all awakened in God's shelter. Now we've come to praise His name together. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good my friend. My friend. Sing Hosanna. Hosanna. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Allah pa ya ba la pa. In the sanctuary of our Lord's protection and the stronghold of our Lord's defense. With His love our spirits are illumined. As we glorify His name, our hearts are blessed. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, my friend. My friend. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. My friend. My friend. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning. That still sounds a little dead to me. I'm sorry, man. I like a little more volume. Hang on. I hope that's not too loud on that. I guess I don't even have to turn it up down here. I have to turn it up on our monitor. But good morning, everyone. Good morning, Yuda and Vicky and Olga and and Dell and good morning, Jeremiah. And good morning, everyone out there in Facebook land. When you join us, I hope everyone is doing well. How you doing, Daryl?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
I had to think about it, and then I said, you know, things aren't bad. Things are good. I'm good. I shouldn't have to think so long about it. Let's go ahead and start with a prayer. Nini's not with us today. She is taking care of her mom. Mom had a surgery and is doing very, very well. So for those of you, we asked you to pray for. For those of you who did, we really thank you so much. But let's have a prayer right now. This is a prayer for humanity. Let me slide in just a little bit here. You might want to slide in a little bit too, Daryl. You're fine here, but the Facebook camera. So there we go. Yeah. O thou compassionate Lord, thou who art generous and able, we are servants of thine, sheltered beneath thy providence. Cast thy glance of favor upon us. Give light to our eyes, hearing to our ears, and understanding and love to our hearts. Render our souls joyous and happy through thy glad tidings. O Lord, point out to us the pathway of thy kingdom and resuscitate all of us through the breath of the Holy Spirit. Bestow upon us life everlasting and confer upon us never-ending honor. Unify mankind and illumine the world of humanity. May we all follow thy pathway, long for thy good pleasure, and seek the mysteries of thy kingdom. O God, unite us and connect our hearts with thy indissoluble bond. Verily, thou art the giver, thou art the kind one, and thou art the Almighty. And this is a prayer by Abdu'l-Baha. I think I've said this prayer quite a bit quite a bit lately. It's one of those prayers that to me needs to be repeated over and over again. It's a prayer for humanity. So, as you know, for the past, I don't know how many months now, let me look and see if I wrote it in. Well, no, I can look for it later on. But for a few months now, we've been working on this book, Baha'u'llah and the New Era. Baha'u'llah and the New Era. And
We're about halfway through it, actually.
Yeah, roughly, yeah. We're barreling on through. And so this is by J.E. Esselmont, and if you, again, a lot of times I say that, you can get material on the various authoritative Baha'i websites, and I've kind of led people to think they can get this. I'm not sure they can. I know when it's writings directly from Baha'u'llah, Abdu'l-Baha, House of Justice, Shoghi Effendi, and the Bab, yes, you can. These books by specific authors, you probably will have to purchase them on your own if you wanted to get that book. So I hope I didn't mislead anyone. But anyway, it's Baha'u'llah and the New Era. And today we're going to start with chapter 9. Chapter 9. So yeah, we're getting through.
Yeah.
And so Daryl, if you'd be so kind as to start doing the honors.
Chapter 9 starts with true civilization. O people of God, be not occupied with yourselves. Be intent on the betterment of the world and the training of nations.
Okay, Daryl. Yeah, man, I got to stop you already. Please read that again.
O people of God, be not occupied with yourselves. Be intent on the betterment of the world and the training of nations. And that's from Baha'u'llah.
Yeah.
It starts with a section on religion as the basis of civilization. According to the Baha'i view, the problems of human life, individual and social, are so inconceivably complex that the ordinary human intellect is incapable of itself of solving them aright. Only the omniscient fully knows the purpose of creation and how that purpose may be achieved. Through the prophets, he shows to mankind the true goal of human life and the right of progress and the building up of a true civilization that depends upon faithful adherence to the guidance of prophetic revelation. Baha'u'llah says, religion is the greatest instrument for the order of the world and the tranquility of all existent beings. I'm going to repeat that because it's so important. Religion is the greatest instrument for the order of the world and the tranquility of all existent beings. The weakening of the pillars of religion has encouraged the ignorant and rendered them audacious and arrogant. The weakening of the pillars of religion has encouraged the ignorant and rendered them audacious and arrogant.
I do want to point out that if you have a different edition, like Daryl is reading from an earlier edition, that has been changed. The meaning hasn't been changed, it's some of the wording. Okay, Daryl, I just wanted to point that out.
Truly I say, whatever lowers the lofty station of religion will increase heedlessness in the wicked and finally result in anarchy. Consider the civilization of the people of the Occident, how it has occasioned commotion and agitation to the people of the world.
Could you start
To
read
the
that sentence again?
Occident, he's talking about the East.
No, it says here, consider the civilization of the West.
Of the West. I'm
Yeah, the
sorry,
West,
the
which is usin. That be's usin.
Right.
Yeah.
How it has occasioned commotion and agitation to the people of the world. Infernal instruments have been devised, and such atrocity is displayed in the destruction of life as has not been seen in the eye of the world, nor heard by the ear of nations. It is impossible to reform these violent, overwhelming evils except the peoples of the world become united upon a certain issue or under the shadow of one religion.
Daryl, I don't normally do this, but do you mind if I read this section from this book? Same section, but just from this book.
Absolutely.
And
No
it's
problem.
it's it's a little different. The meaning again is the same, but I think certain words kind of drive points home, maybe a little more, and maybe that's why they made the change in this later edition. It says, "Religion is verily the chief instrument for the establishment of order in the world and of tranquility amongst its peoples. The weakening of the pillars of religion hath strengthened the foolish, and emboldened them and made them more arrogant. Verily I say, the greater the decline of religion, the more grievous the waywardness of the ungodly. This cannot but lead in the end to chaos and confusion. Consider the civilization of the West." Like I said, they kind of use some clearer. "Consider the civilization of the West, how it hath agitated and alarmed the peoples of the world. Consider the civilization of the West, how it hath agitated and alarmed the peoples of the world. An infernal engine hath been devised and hath proved," this is from Baha'u'llah in the 1800s, "an infernal engine hath been devised and hath proved so cruel a weapon of destruction that its like none hath ever witnessed or heard. The purging of such deeply rooted and overwhelming corruptions cannot be effected unless the peoples of the world unite in pursuit of one common aim and embrace one universal faith." To me, I don't know. I don't know if
Yeah.
it's just that to me, this is like, listen, folks, you gotta hear this. And at this point in time in the history of the world, who can deny that this was a visionary statement here?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It goes on to say, O people of Baha'i, O people of Baha'i, each one of the revealed commands is a mighty stronghold for the protection of the world. That's from Words of Paradise. The present state of Europe and of the world in general eloquently confirms the truth of these words written so many years ago. Neglect of the prophetic commands and the prevalence of irreligion have been accompanied by disorder and destruction on the most terrible scale. And without the change of heart and aim, which is the essential characteristic of true religion, the reform of society seems an utter impossibility.
I got to say, those are, that idea of true religion. I've mentioned in the past how I have friends who are just dead set against religion, because they say religion has caused all the problems of the world. And usually that's not religion, that's the perversion of religion.
Exactly.
It's what they might see as religion, but it's actually the perversion of religion. That's why it's important that they say, without the change of heart and aim, without the change of heart and aim, which is the essential characteristic of true religion. Change of heart. Change of heart. Okay, anyway.
So he goes on to lock in justice here as well. In the little book of hidden words, in which Baha'u'llah gives in brief the essence of the prophetic teachings, his first counsel refers to the individual life. Possess a pure and kindly and radiant heart. The next indicates the fundamental principle of true social life. O son of spirit, the best beloved of all things in my sight is justice. Turn not away therefrom if thou desirest me, and neglect it not that I may confide in thee. By its aid thou shalt see with thine own eyes, and not through the eyes of others, and shalt know of thine own knowledge, and not through the knowledge of thy neighbor. Ponder this in thy heart, how it behoveth thee to be. Verily, justice is my gift to thee, and the sign of my loving kindness. Set it then before thine eyes. The first essential of social life is that individuals should become capable of discerning the true from the false and right from wrong, and of seeing things in their true proportions.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. How's that possible in the days of the internet when people are just spewing misinformation and disinformation? But it's saying the ability to discern true from false is an essential
Absolutely.
of social life. We got to use our brains. Okay, anyway.
The greatest cause of spiritual and social blindness and the greatest foe of social progress is selfishness, Baha'u'llah says. Baha'u'llah says, O ye sons of intelligence, the thin eyelid prevents the eye from seeing the world and what is contained therein. Then think of the result when a curtain of greed covers the sight of the heart.
Please read that again.
I'll read that again.
Please do.
O ye sons of intelligence, the thin eyelid prevents the eye from seeing the world and what is contained therein. Then think of the result when the curtain of greed covers the sight of the heart. O people, the darkness of greed and envy obscures the light and soul as the cloud prevents penetration of the sun's rays.
I love that metaphor. I mean, think how thin and how small your eyelid is, and yet it prevents you from seeing the world and what is contained therein. And if something as small and thin as an eyelid can do that, then think of the result when the curtain of greed covers the sight of the heart. Covers the sight of the heart. I notice, and if you look at the I thought this was a hidden word that I had never read before, but I looked, well, is that in the hidden word? But no, this is in a tablet to a Zoroastrian from Baha'u'llah. But it starts with, O ye sons of intelligence. You gotta use your brain, and I mean really use it to again discern the true from the false. And you can't allow your intelligence to be slanted by greed.
Right.
Okay, I probably get a little too excited about these things, but it's just that, okay, let's face it. On the one hand, we can say, well, this is also simple, but it's truly profound.
It is profound.
It is truly profound, and it is something that if you look at how the world operates for many people, there are a whole lot of people that obviously should read this and don't, and should not just read it, but take it to heart.
The interesting thing is when you look at when this was written and how, so many years ago, and how it so applies to the world today.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah, and I think you hit something, that is an extremely cogent statement. Again, truly visionary at that time.
Exactly.
And you're right, it's been over 100 years since that was written. I am right, yeah, over 100 years, almost about 150 years now.
Right.
And it applies to today down to the last letter.
Right.
Down to the last letter. I didn't say hi to Kim. Hi, Kim.
Long experience is at last convincing men of the truth of the prophetic teaching that selfish views and selfish actions inevitably bring social disaster, and that if humanity is to perish ingloriously, each must look on the things of his neighbor as of equal importance with his own, and subordinate his own interests to those of humanity as a whole. Subordinate his own interests to those of humanity as a whole.
Well, Daryl, now wait a minute. I kind of touched on this earlier before we started today, but how do we, subordinate, what is it? Subordinate his own interest to those of humanity as a whole. And yet, a long time back, I think in another book, we were reading that, and might have been in this book, but I think it was in the previous book, that, the good things of the earth we are meant to enjoy them.
Right.
I think it was actually, I'm sure we've read it in another book, but also earlier in this book. How do you square that? How do you square subordinating your own interest to those of humanity as a whole with enjoying the pleasures of the good things in the earth?
Well, this section is about selfishness.
Yeah.
So you can't be selfish, is what it's saying.
Yeah, and I think we're talking, let's face it, you can enjoy a lot of things, certainly, but then there are extremes.
Right.
When you go to the extremes and when you start ignoring the needs of others and so forth, it just requires us to have that balance, yeah.
Right. In this way, the interests of each and all will ultimately be best served.
Yes.
In this way, the interests of each and all will ultimately be best served. Baha'u'llah says, O son of man, if thine eyes be turned towards mercy, forsake the things that profit thee, and cleave unto that which will profit mankind. And if thine eyes be turned towards justice, choose thou for thy neighbor that which thou choosest for thyself. That in very much says what the golden rule says in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
It's do unto others. He goes on to talk about government. The teachings of Baha'u'llah contain two different types of reference to the question of true social order. One type is exemplified in the tablets revealed to the kings, which deal with the problem of government as existing in the world during Baha'u'llah's life on earth. The other references are to the new order to be developed within the Baha'i community itself. Hence arises the sharp contrast between such passages as the one true God, exalted be his glory, hath ever regarded and will continue to regard the hearts of men as his own, his exclusive possession. All else, whether pertaining to land or sea, whether riches or glory, he hath bequeathed unto the kings and rulers of the earth. And it beseemeth all men in this day to take firm hold on the most great name and to establish the unity of all mankind. There is no place to flee to, no refuge that anyone can seek except him.
Wow.
And that's from Gleanings from the writings of Baha'u'llah. The apparent incompatibility of these two views is removed when we observe the distinction which Baha'u'llah makes between the lesser peace and the most great peace. In his tablets to the kings, Baha'u'llah called upon them to assemble and take measures for the maintenance of political peace, the reduction of armaments, and the removal of the burdens and insecurity of the poor.
Whoa.
That is key. That is a key element.
Now, I want to remind
talks about-
everyone, this is under the subtitle under this chapter that we're reading right now is government.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
When he says, take measures for the maintenance of political peace.
Yes.
Those measurements being the reduction of armaments,
The
removal of the burdens of the insecurity of the poor.
poor. Oh, I'm sorry.
You could write a book just on that particular section.
Yes.
But his words make it perfectly clear that their failure to respond to the needs of the time would result in wars and revolutions, leading to the overthrow of the old order. Therefore, on the one hand, he said, what mankind needeth in this day is obedience unto them that are in authority, and on the other, those men who, having amassed the vanities and ornaments of the earth, have turned away disdainfully from God. These have lost both in this world and the world to come. Ere long will God, with the hand of power, strip them of their possessions and divest them of the robe of his bounty. We have a fixed time for you, O peoples. If ye fail at the apportioned hour to turn towards God, he verily will lay violent hold on you and will cause grievous afflictions to assail you from every direction. The signs of impending convulsions and chaos can now be discerned, inasmuch as the prevailing order appeareth to be lamentably defective. The signs of impending convulsions and chaos can now be discerned, inasmuch as the prevailing order appeareth to be lamentably defective. We have pledged ourselves to secure thy triumph upon the earth, and to exalt our cause above all men. No king be found who would turn his face towards thee. That's some gleanings from the writings of Baha'u'llah.
You know, as you were reading this, I couldn't help thinking of that well-known sentence from Baha'u'llah. I know it's also in Gleanings. I can't remember what passage, but, you know, the world is in travail,
Yes.
and its agitation waxeth day by day. And this, you know, seems to address those conditions, and tells us what will happen if things don't change. And, you know, I mean,
I find hope in these passages. There is hope that,
yeah,
you know, because it says to me that at some point God will make it all right. He will correct those, you know.
and I'm glad you said that, because I can go dark and depressed real quick because I don't always come back to that reality.
Yeah.
You know, that even in times like those in which we now live, you know, God is in control. It's not that we aren't allowed to kind of, or the leaders of the world and those who would not follow the basic standards of God, whether you want to call them commandments or whatever, you know, they seem to reign for a while. And then in time, there's this, it seems to be this cataclysmic, or this series of cataclysmic events that kinds of resets things, you know, so. Anyway, let's go ahead and have this song. Before this song is called "The Earth Is But One Country." Comes from a well-known statement by Baha'u'llah: "The earth is but one country, and mankind is its citizens." And while this, I'd like to have little passages that that the writing isn't always based on, but I'm just going to read this to you. And this had to do, frankly, as an African American, this grabbed me when I first started reading the writings. It is forbidden you to trade in slaves, be they men or women. It is not for him who is himself a servant to buy another of God's servants. It is not for him who is himself a servant to buy another of God's servants, and this hath been prohibited in his holy tablets. Thus by his mercy hath the commanded been recorded by the pen of justice. This is the part that really grabbed me. Let no man exalt himself over another. All are but bondslaves before the Lord, and all exemplify the truth that there is none other God but him. He verily is the all-wise, whose wisdom encompasseth all things. O children of men, know ye not why we have created you all from the same dust? that no one should exalt himself. No one should exalt himself over the other. The earth is but one country.
One country.
The earth is but one country.
One country.
The earth is but one country.
One country.
And mankind, its citizens, ponder at all times in your heart how you were created, even as one soul, walk with the same feet, eat with the same mouth, dwell in the same land. The earth is but one country.
One country.
The earth is but one country.
One country.
The earth is but one country.
One country.
And mankind, its citizens, the earth is one country. My, 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 my. Oh. You know the earth is but one country. The earth is but one country. The earth is but one country.
One country.
And mankind, its citizens, that from your inmost being, by your deeds and actions, the signs of oneness, the signs of a oneness, and the essence of detachment may be made manifest. Oh, you know the earth is but one country.
One country.
The earth is but one country.
One country.
The earth is but one country.
One country.
And mankind, mankind is citizens. The earth is but one country. I would bet there are some people that don't like that statement, but we're not going to dwell on them. That's what Baha'u'llah says. The
we are
earth is
not.
but one country, and mankind its citizens. Ah,
So, can you take over?
okay.
The great being.
You already knew what I was. Okay. This is coming from Baha'u'llah, continuing. The great being, that's God, the great being wishing to reveal the prerequisites of the peace and tranquility of the world and the advancement of his peoples, hath written, the time must come, I just threw my ink pen, the time must come when the imperative necessity for the holding of a vast and all-embracing assemblage of men will be universally realized. The rulers and kings of the earth must needs attend it, and participating in its deliberations must consider such ways and means as will lay the foundations of the world's great peace amongst men. Such a peace demandeth that the great powers should resolve, for the sake of the tranquility of the peoples of the earth, to be fully reconciled among themselves. Should any kind take up,
king.
I'm sorry, well, here it says kind, okay, but king, huh?
Yeah.
It might be, this is probably a typo.
Should any
Okay,
king.
it makes sense there, but okay, I'm glad you pointed. Should any king take up arms against another, all should unitedly arise and prevent him. Okay. No editorializing.
No editorial.
By such counsel, Baha'u'llah revealed the conditions under which public responsibility must be discharged in this day of God. Appealing for international solidarity on one hand, he no less clearly warned the leaders that continuance of strife would destroy their power. Now, modern history confirms this warning in the rise of those coercive movements which in all civilized nations have attained such destructive energy, and in the development of warfare to the degree that victory is no longer attainable by any party. Now, and this is another quote coming from Baha'u'llah now, now that ye have refused the most great peace, hold ye fast unto this, the lesser peace, that haply ye may in some degree better your own condition and that of your dependence. You know, this reminds me that God, you know, he sends us guidance through messengers, guidance through messengers, guidance through messengers. It's still up to us to apply the guidance.
Absolutely.
Now that ye have refused the most great peace, hold ye fast unto this, the lesser peace. And haply ye may in some degree better your own conditions and that of your dependence. That, and continuing, quoting from Baha'u'llah, that which the Lord hath ordained as the sovereign remedy and the mightiest instrument for the healing of all the world is the union of all its peoples in one universal cause, one common faith. This can in no wise be achieved except through the power of a skilled and all-powerful and inspired physician. And that physician is the manifestation of God. By the lesser peace is meant a political unity of states, while the most great peace is a unity embracing spiritual as well as political and economic factors. Again, coming from Baha'u'llah, soon will the present day order be rolled up and a new one spread out in its stead. All of those quotes that I read were coming from gleanings from the writings of Baha'u'llah. In former ages, a government could concern itself with external matters and material affairs, but today, the function of government demands a quality of leadership, of consecration, and of spiritual knowledge impossible save to those who have turned to God. In former ages, a government should concern itself or could concern itself with external matters and material affairs. But today, the function of government demands a quality of leadership, of consecration, and of spiritual knowledge impossible save to those who have turned to God. And with that being said,
I think one of the key statements here is demands a quality of
leadership. Yes.
And that quality of leadership is one that I believe has yet to be as well defined as it should be. Because
Yeah.
if we look at our leaders today are, are falling down in all these areas.
Yeah.
They are not accomplishing what could and should be accomplished.
Yeah.
Okay, and can only be accomplished through spiritual knowledge.
You just depressed me,
turning
Daryl.
towards
You
God.
just depressed me again.
So, it wasn't meant to be depressing.
I know. But at this time, folks, as always, we like to allow anyone who would like to choose, who would choose to share a prayer or a song or favorite passage of your choosing. This is that time. So anyone who would like to share at this time, please feel free to do so. Terry, you look like you're getting ready to share something.
Yes, I had to start up my little.
Okay. Sorry about putting you on the spot there.
Yes, sir. Many a chilled heart, O my God, hath been set ablaze with the fire of thy cause, and many a slumberer hath been awakened by the sweetness of thy voice. How many are the strangers who have sought shelter beneath the shadow of the tree of thy oneness, and how numerous the thirsty ones who have panted after the fountain of thy living waters in thy days. Blessed is he that hath set himself towards thee, and hastened to attain the dayspring of the lights of thy face. Blessed is he who, with all his affections, hath turned to the dawning place of thy revelation, and the fountainhead of thine inspiration. Blessed is he that hath expended in thy path what thou didst bestow upon him through thy bounty and favor. Blessed is he who, in his sore longing after thee, hath cast away all else except thyself. Blessed is he who hath enjoyed intimate communion with thee, and rid himself of all attachment to anyone save thee. I beseech thee, O my Lord, by him who is thy name, who through the power of thy sovereignty and might hath risen above the horizon of his prison, to ordain for everyone what becometh thee, and beseemeth thine exaltation. Thy might and truth is equal to all things.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to share?
I would. Tuesday is the 7th anniversary of the ascension of my daughter, Tara Hayawati. And I have this prayer. This is from Abdul Baha. O Lord, O thou whose mercy hath encompassed all, whose forgiveness is transcendent, whose bounty is sublime, whose pardon and generosity are all embracing, and the lights of whose forgiveness are diffused throughout the world. O Lord of glory, I entreat thee fervently and tearfully to cast upon thy handmaiden who hath ascended unto thee the glances of the eye of thy mercy. Robe her in the mantle of thy grace, bright with the ornaments of the celestial paradise, and sheltering her beneath the tree of thy oneness, illumine her face with the lights of thy mercy and compassion. Bestow upon thy heavenly handmaiden, O God, the holy fragrances born of the spirit of thy forgiveness. Cause her to dwell in a blissful abode, heal her griefs with the balm of thy reunion, and in accordance with thy will, grant her admission to thy holy paradise. Let the angels of thy loving kindness descend successively upon her and shelter her beneath thy blessed tree. Thou art verily the ever forgiving, the most generous, the all bountiful.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Is there anyone else who would like to share?
I beg thee to forgive me, O my Lord, for every mention but the mention of thee, and for every praise but the praise of thee, and for every delight but delight in thy nearness, and for every pleasure but the pleasure of communion with thee, and for every joy but the joy of thy love and of thy good pleasure, and for all things pertaining unto me which bear no relationship unto thee, O thou who art the Lord of lords, he who provided the means and unlocks the doors.
Thank you so much, Olga. That's one of those beautiful prayers I remember, one of the earliest Baha'i prayers I remember hearing in song. Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to share? Well then, just give me a moment to readjust our Facebook camera here.
Excuse me.
Okay. And as always at this time, we always like to point out that this is a joint community effort. And we come to you if you are joining us through Zoom, or even later on after we do our program through Facebook. You probably are, you might be clicking on my page, but you also might find it on the clearwaterbahais.org website, because they stream it afterwards through their YouTube channel. Next week, we're actually planning to be at the actual Clearwater Baha'i Center, trying to move things back that we've been talking about it for a few weeks now. But for anyone who might be interested in learning more about the faith, there are some authoritative websites that are available to everyone online. And what are those websites, Daryl?
They are www.baha'i.org, www.baha'i.us, www.bahaiteachings.org, and if you happen to be in the Tampa Bay area, you can always go to, or Clearwater, you can always go to the Clearwater Baha'i website at www.clearwaterbahais.org.
Okay. And we do encourage you to do that. We do encourage you to do that. Now, I'll tell you what, give me a moment here. I didn't readjust my little drum machine here. Shall say something, Daryl.
What I have to say is what I tell you all the time, and that is that if you are loved, you happen to be a truly blessed individual. If you share that love, then everything and everyone around you is blessed as well. And the smartest and the easiest, the simplest, the best thing you can do to improve conditions, not just in your world, but in the world around you, is to share that love. So I beg of you, I beg of all of you, if you do nothing else, share the love.
Probably a little loud on their end, but... O people of justice, be as brilliant as the light, and as splendid as the fire that blazed in the burning bush. The brightness of the fire of your love will no doubt fuse and unify the contending peoples and kindreds of the earth, whilst the fierceness of the flame of enmity and hatred cannot but result in strife and ruin. We beseech God that he may shield his creatures from the evil designs of his enemies. He verily hath power over all things. Let your vision be world embracing. Let your vision be world embracing. Let your vision be world embracing. Oh, be world embracing. Let your vision be world embracing. Let your vision be world embracing. Oh, watch over yourselves, for the evil one is lying in wait, ready to entrap you. Gird yourselves against his wicked devices, and led by the light of the name of the all-seeing God, make your escape from the darkness that surrounded you. Let your vision be world-embracing, rather than confined to your own self. These are the words of Baha'u'llah. Have a good one, folks. Have yourselves a good week. Hope to see you next week, 10 o'clock our time, 10 o'clock Eastern time, U.S. time.
Thank you, Tony and Daryl.
Thank you.
you.
Allah.